Era Eternity.
And if I'm Era Eternity, I want to see a Susano ban or a Susano selection. They are going to be first pick this time. So having that in mind, I believe they were also first pick last game, and that's where they opted for the Robin. But either way, I think that the Susano was just too much of a controlling factor. But they are taking away the Bellona and the Osiris right away.
No Geb ban? Just kidding. Era Eternity with the first pick. We'll see where they opt to go here. Osiris and Bellona banned out, first of all, by them. They do go the Robin.
They want to run it back. I mean, I don't think that Maloys did anything wrong in particular. They were even able to secure that first blood in the solo lane because of the Robin selection, but I do feel as though it might be a little bit too soon, just considering that I feel like they're highly prioritizing it. But I hope that they go for a little bit more aggressive of a draft.
Yeah, I definitely want to see a different solo laner. Terra and Kernanos will be the dual lane for Team Rival here. Ho Yi will be the answer to Kernanos and Khepri as well. We'll see if Team Rival go for a Thanatos.
Thanatos would be an interesting look here, but it does seem as though they want to just lock away the Sun Wukong. He's been a pretty favorite solo laner lately, and I mean, for good reasoning. He has a lot of he can really disorient a team fight by just running around in that back line with his kit. Really annoying to deal with when he goes up into the cloud.
The Susano ban does come out. I think that's a strong choice. Aphrodite and Nike banned out by Rival. The Afro, excuse me. The Afro, very interesting selection. But we're going to see Thor, the jungle of choice for Team Rival.
Thor, I love seeing this Thor pick because you know that's going to be Rapio running the Thor.
Yep.
And his Thor is pretty incredible when it comes, especially considering it's for console gameplay and it can be really hard to get off all that poke potential with your first ability. But he finds those double taps pretty frequently. And it won't be a Geb. Instead, it's going to be the Amaterasu facing off against that Sun Wukong.
So still not an early game god, but certainly not as late as the Geb. The Amaterasu comes online a little bit earlier than that. And the Soul, with the selection for the mid lane Watson player. Team Rival here have an interesting draft, but still relatively meta, as we saw out of them from game number 1. A little bit different as EE brings out the Nox.
Rival have a very strong draft as far as objective control and pressure is concerned. I mean, you've got a Soul and a Current, two hunter type players. I mean, Soul isn't technically a hunter, but she can play like one. And with the Terra having that ultimate available, it's just going to have so much gas pedal onto the team fights that I think that Era Eternity are really going to have to look out for.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be on their checklist of things to be afraid of, but Mango Man here playing the Amaterasu, a little bit more traditional than the Geb solo, which, again, I do want to highlight that it worked for as long as Team Rival played Era Eternity's game. But the second that Rival decided to go ahead and be a little bit more aggressive, well, the Geb just didn't do it.
I like seeing the more conventional pick here from Era Eternity. You went out on a limb and it didn't work out, so just fall back to what you know has had success in the past. So I really like the Amaterasu pick here. Unfortunately, looking like he's still going to lose that blue buff.
Yeah, I like throwing the curveball at the opposition, but there's a difference between a dependable curveball and a crazy guy knuckleball, right? I mean, you got to be able to at least have a little bit of control of what you're doing, and I think the Geb kind of spiraled out of control in the wrong way. They saw during the mid-game the power of the Geb. He was able to delete a couple of players and win some objectives, and then the late game, they saw the Achilles heel of the Geb, where he can only do one thing, and then as the team fight and the game goes later and later, you're kind of just left out there with nobody helping you out.
I am really looking forward, though, to Duckbot on this Nox again. His Nox from last week was pretty incredible, so it's just really exciting seeing him run it back.
Here comes Malloy, ready to fix the face of Gnome, rotating all the way from the mid lane. But Mango Man down to half HP. He'll have to back off just a little bit.
That was a really well-timed transformation for him.
Yeah.
That if he hadn't executed that perfectly, I think that they would have very well kept on him.
Coach Killy was first blood in game number 1, and he certainly remembers it. He's got to be careful over here, and he'll be able to inch his way back into the lane.
Yeah, a little questionable for Coach Killy, so I don't think he wants to try and question Team Rival around those oracles any longer. So that positioning can be kind of iffy or so early on as a lone Khepri, but he'll be able to get away to safety. So I do think that Rival have the right mindset as far as this dual lane is concerned, and keeping up the steady pressure, which is what Jacob and Dobson were able to do in game number 1, and now even more so because Dobson's going to have this Kern. But Kern versus Hu Yi, a little bit more difficult of a matchup.
Yeah, just a little bit. I think it just comes down to the fact that Kern knows, well, I mean, why don't you tell us a little bit? You're the Hunter player.
I mean, Kern, I would favor Hu Yi against the Kern matchup simply because of the fact that while Dobson will have the free poke potential in his second ability, it's still so easy for Vaporesh to just launch his kit down.
Rapio looking to launch himself here into the solo lane. Instead, plays it safe and just lands along with his teammate to go ahead and earn some farm.
I think he got spotted out there by Mango Man and Malois and didn't want to risk taking up an awkward engagement because those two alone, the Emma and the Robin, can definitely turn a fight.
Yeah, at this point, they're not the most powerful, but together they can absolutely take care of business, no problem. I mean, as soon as, right, the Thor comes down, he spins and he just gets rooted and you walk away.
Sunder makes everybody powerful. So that's the main thing here. I think that was the main reason Rapio was worried about getting silenced out, sundered, and then just beaten up.
Yep, troublesome stuff. So still no kills, despite an attempt here, an attempt there. Not going to be the case just yet. Team Rival with Watson on the Soul. This is a character that can kind of run rampant throughout everything. And if you remember, Watson wants a solo laner. Really likes to run rampant. And with that Soul selection, if everything goes his way, that's exactly what he'll wind up doing.
Watson, you could see it shine through a couple of times, that like solo laner mentality where he wants to just be by himself, go off and do his own thing, and then he kind of can forget that he doesn't have all these protections
He's not a Hercules.
Survive. But either way, I would still say that Watson is very conscious of his positioning for the most part, and that's why we tend to see him looking to make those aggressive plays when he does, because he knows that nobody else is around him usually. Yeah,
sometimes you can see him default to those old instincts, those old habits, like you were saying. But really, I've been pleasantly impressed with how Watson has been doing in the mid lane here in our season of SCL. He's been doing it for a while now, a couple of splits, and even go back to when he first started, he made some of the more solo lane-esque mistakes a little bit more often. These days, very rare do you see the mistakes. You still see the habits and the tendencies, which aren't necessarily mistakes. They don't get him into trouble. It's just ways of playing or ways of being. But the times when he runs in thinking that he's Hercules, but he's actually Isis, I think those are left in the past.
I think it's completely understandable. I also like this little bit of contest coming through for Air Eternity. Rival don't want anything to do with it.
Nope, they just want to play it safe. Like you said, better safe than sorry. And so they're going to just quickly walk away.
And if this is anything like the first game, I imagine that Rival is just going to look to secure as much farm as possible before looking for the aggression hold. I thought, though, Gnome putting the pressure onto Mango Man, kind of surprised he didn't opt to go into ult form there.
Yeah, very surprised, actually. Still not done yet, though. Mango Man still here just a little bit. But again, that's what we're talking about. Better safe than sorry. Taco, that's a kill. Taco, that's first blood.
Probably. It most likely is. Granted, if he doesn't miss a single ability, and Malois is just now making that rotation over. I know some people might be like, oh, Malois is there. Malois was chilling by the Phoenix when that was happening.
It was the unknown, right? It was the unknown. You didn't know where Malois was. So I think that's why we see him play it safe. Just thinking that Malo is on his way over there could be enough. But now...
And now he actually is.
He's going to avoid the root, which is the big deal. And Gnome should be okay, but he's going to bait in the fight. Down comes the jungler. Nice stun coming out after the wall. But Gnome in the cloud will have to walk away. Rapio, unfortunately, not as accurate as he had hoped.
I think he was expecting Air Eternity to push forward a little bit more, anticipating that the Robin and Amaterasu would try to siege that opportunity onto Gnome to shut him down for the first blood. Unfortunately, though, I mean, it was a great stun considering that Malois was using his ultimate at the exact same time to try and land down onto Gnome for that extra bit of damage.
Do you think that, well, I mean, yes, Gnome did a fantastic job of baiting over there, making that Mango Man and Malois did not know that their jungler was in the jungle. But here, this time around, Mango Man getting caught in the jungle, 3 versus 2. The chase is on, but Duckbot going to shade over, likely sending Rival back home.
Oh, and that is going to deter Rival, which I think they would have looked for that otherwise, considering just how low in mana Mango Man actually is. Normally, that's a contest every single time, but with the Khepri making his way over as well, better to not take up a 3v4 scenario, especially considering that Coach Killy probably has that revive ready to go.
I mean, the Khepri, with the Athena performance in game number 1, didn't win them the game at all, but, you know, still was a nice performance. I really enjoyed Coach Killy's play over the past couple of weeks, in all honesty, and Coach Killy will get caught out here, and he has the tendency to get caught out, but as the game progresses and it becomes more of a team fight game, that's where Coach Killy really starts to shine.
And we've got Vapourish over there trying to bite off a little bit more than what he can actually chew, looking to take up that same aggressive stance that he had against Dobson in game number 1, but this time it's Dobson getting the much more favorable end of that.
Mallow getting in trouble. Jacob going to find the root as well, still looking for trouble. But Mallow going to just take the extra damage ticks.
Sometimes you just gotta assert your dominance, you're not afraid, and now Mallow's actually should be afraid because Rapio just completely takes him out.
And there's Rapio taking to the skies, gonna look for the support as well. Dash forward, Dobson gets the kill. Duckbot could be next, but it's all about Mango Man making the rotation from the short lane. Dobson still in trouble here, but a nice wall by Rapio to separate his team from the enemy. Whether he was protecting the team from the enemy aggressing or making sure his team didn't dive the tower, I don't think we'll know that for sure. But either way, the Gold Fury is the result of taking out the first blood and the secondary kill. And with the Gold Fury down, all of that combined at 9 minutes, Team Rival take the lead, about 2,400.
And it's the first real lead of the game, honestly. And just look at that XP spike. 2.7k experience in favor of Rival pretty much off of that one engagement, that giant downward slope for Area Eternity, and that hurts. That's an engagement that they didn't need to be caught up in.
Not at all, not at all. And I mean, that was just a fantastic map vision from Rapio. The flank coming out from the right side, understanding where the player was, just a great job by the jungler.
And now Gnome just trying to poke away at Mango Man yet again. Already got him to half health, but Malois, with making his way back over, should deter him, considering he does have that ward vision available.
Yeah, you get those. I like when the solo lane just the jungler's sitting there waiting for a gank, and the solo lane's doing his thing, and then slowly turns, and then waves into the jungle because he sees you on the ward, hiding behind the rock, and then the jungle just sits there and goes, all right, just look cool, just look natural, and then slowly walks away. It's like when you're walking down the street and realize you're walking in the wrong direction. And you're like, all right, I gotta slowly turn around here. So that's exactly what we're going to see. Rapio turning in the right direction, looking for the ultimate, can't find it again. Anticipating the push forward will not happen. And Rapio has to go ahead and just hold that.
Sometimes it happens. Sometimes you want to play it. I do like that Rapio is at least looking to be a lot more aggressive on the Thor.
Me too.
He has the aggression that we were waiting for on the Susano, but as the Thor this time, which is a little bit more interesting as well, just waiting to see where he's trying to land down on, placing a lot of emphasis onto Mango Man in the solo lane.
There's the jump forward. Oh, I expected the jump back. I did not think he was going to go for it. Vapourish gets aggressive there, down a level with Dobson.
Dobson had to back off at the same time, though, even with Vapourish jumping into a full creep wave. If Vapourish were to catch him out with a stun, he could get in a couple of free in-hands that Dobson really doesn't want to take the poke damage from, considering it's so easy for him to return poke fire onto Vapourish.
And right there we see that actually go down, but here on the right side, bang! Gnome gets taken out by Sir Duckbot. Mango Man, the lonely blue player here, he's getting controlled by Rapio, saved by Coach Killy from a distance. And now it's all about Mallow. Can he escape it? Nice shot again by Coach Killy. Those are the plays I was talking about, man. Coach Killy will get caught out. He will die 1 or 2 times more than you'd like him to. But he's able to find those revives. He's able to find those balls with the damage reduction.
That was a decent bit of his health. I mean, Rival aren't going to be able to lock that one down. Out of range, he didn't have the range available to try and lock down that kill.
I think that ult was more for vision. than it actually was. He went up saying,
I think he wanted to play it aggressively.
If somebody was there, he was going to go for it, of course.
Yeah, he definitely thought that Malois would be lazy backing. I think he hesitated a little bit too long and thought that he'd be closer than what he actually was, but
yeah, you're probably right.
I don't disagree with the mindset to try and look for that. Rapio's just trying to engage as often as possible, and that's kind of what you're meant to do on Thor.
Yeah, I mean, Team Rival right now have a slight lead, about 2,000, 1,500 more accurately, because that Rapio is doing whatever he wants. He's ulting basically on cooldown. No, I'm going to get caught out here just a little bit. Grabbed up by Coach Killy, silenced out by Duckbot, dashed on by everybody else, and put in the ground by Malois.
That's the fun with Nox. Does not give you that opportunity to get up into your ultimate as these solo laners. Just that silence and lock combination is really chunking away at Gnome's health.
I mean, I call it the trouble puddle for a reason. There's no other circle in the game that's more devastating than Nox's circle, than Nox's second ability, in my opinion. Once you're in it, it hits so hard, you can't get out of there. You can't even Aegis. You're just stuck.
Kind of just trapped into oblivion. Speaking
Nice
of that,
wall.
Malois actually getting aggressed onto by Rapio. He's got the speed buff. He's using the purification beads, but Coach Killy is there with the save.
Rapio's still going to go in the sky. That shield is going to be done. Mallow's the obvious target, so instead he goes for the double stun. Rapio finds two with it. Puts down the wall, puts down the Zerkers. He's got to get out of here, Taco, and he does, but he's chased down by Mango Man.
Forced into his Aegis because of Mango Man, but now it's Watson trying to freak ass onto Mango Man and the rest of Air Eternity, but Coach Killy is there to just prevent all further aggression. He might end up falling himself, though.
Nope, narrowly avoids the slow.
The tower, though.
If Soul finds the slow, I think they kill Coach Killy. Even still, they kill the tier 1 tower on the right side, likely going to lose the Portal Demon as well. All the while, Air Eternity able to get a tier 1 tower for themselves here, thanks to their split pushing Houyi.
This is a little bit risky, though, for Vaporish. I'm not sure he wants to hang around much longer, but Rapio doesn't have any actives available, so taking on a headbutting fight with a Houyi might not be the most recommended thing in the world right now.
Yeah, I think that's a correct call. Just a pure attack speed, the Ichabal right into the Executioner coming out from the Houyi. He wants to fight you. He wants to box.
It's the same for Dobson, though. He went straight for the Iqbal into the chin size to try and deal a little bit more of bursting down this heavy tank composition, and that's where it is. It just lands. There's nowhere for Coach Killy to go, just completely shot out.
Every basic hitting harder and harder for Dobson as we go along the way. Mango Man gets his revenge, taking down Watson, but he could be in trouble in the middle of the team fight. Very low, 10%, 5%. Nice ultimate from Duckbot, but is it enough to save his solo lane? No! Gnome gets the kill.
And right now, it's just going to be Malois chasing down Gnome, punishing him for aggressing too far forward. Air Eternity are going to be able to hold their T1 tower. Everybody from Rival needs to back off, and I think they might have the Gold Fury in mind.
It might be the case. That's a 2 for 2. Coach Killy on his way back right out of the base here. Nice control on the Jacob. Stuck in the silence puddle. The root from Mallow. The root from Mallow is huge, but the stun from Rapio is bigger. The double stun coming out from Rapio. Fantastic job. Both of those plays were wild.
Just a little bit too grouped up. They got a little overexcited thinking that they could lock down Dobson immediately after, but it was actually Rapio looking to turn the tables against Era Eternity. And now with 2 members dead as opposed to just 1, the contest, they can't do it. Mango Man unable to find the Gold Fury.
Rapio might be able to find a death, and he will. Mallow gets credit for that off of the assist from Mango Man. Coach Killy going to put the root on the left side, forcing the enemy to the right side. Dobson forced into the direction of Mango Man, dashes. Both are going to miss, and Dobson gets out of there despite all tries from Era Eternity. And Mallow will pay the price in the enemy jungle.
Same cannot be said for Mallow. Like you just mentioned, he couldn't get away, and now it's Gnome looking to try and do the same to Mango Man, but Coach Killy, kind of far out there, buddy.
I mean, that right there, he's trying to help out his team. Here comes Vapor, and now Gnome. Little out there, buddy. Could be in trouble, but he runs back to Team Rival.
And Dobson, that movement speed from the Terra's Blessing just came up so clutch for him.
He got dashed on by Mango Man and Coach Killy, both of which have an effect on their dash that screws you, essentially. He got out of that abduct. 1 foot. 1 footstep of his little centaur body, he was away from Coach Killy's abduct. Wow.
Just a little clip clop away.
Yeah, pretty much. Whatever you just said. But
What's the sound that the horse hooves make? Like the little hooves, like clip clopping.
clop, just clopping
No,
around.
you got the clip before the clop. That's always been the thing.
I don't know. What you're clipping the clop?
No, it's like a clip clop sound. It's literally what it's like. It's like, you know, like the clip clop.
I don't know. You have to show me.
I'm not repeating that.
No, you have to demonstrate it.
No,
we're already
enough
here.
of a demonstration.
We're already here.
No, we're gonna have to pass on that one.
No, we're not.
Just like we're
not.
It's
I'm
already
not letting
Gnome is actually in danger. We're passing this opportunity, and he's actually being aggressed onto. The Sunder is going to clean him up from Mango Man.
Just couldn't clop his way out of that one. 18 minutes on the clock and 7-7. Read the kills. Rapio gonna go ahead and just head back into his own jungle as he sees Mango Man split pushing on the right-hand side.
Mango Man doesn't have any mana, so...
Mango Man doesn't have any cares in the world right now as he's got a teammate here. Watson gonna go in the ethereal form, but Mallow's still here. And I'm still excited. I'm still excited about Mallow rooting the player in the silence pool. I thought that was, I stood up and I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. Taco kind of rolled her eyes at me. I thought it was awesome as hell.
It's always great whenever abilities connect because you know that the communication is really strong from the teams just to follow up with each other in that manner.
Because it's the one person combo, right? You put down the puddle and then you hit it with the Nox tether, but you had somebody else hitting it. I like that. I like the open-end combos. Portal Demon about to spawn relatively soon. 7-7. I could certainly use a drink. I think Era could as well, as they're down about 2,500 gold, give or take. But they're certainly not out of this one. And unlike the last game, I think they can actually fight into this one the later the game goes. Geb reached an apex and then kind of didn't do much after it. This time with the Amaterasu, I think they just get more powerful.
They're going to have to be careful though, because if Duckbot misses any of his combinations, then it's going to be trouble. And right now, Mango Man is actually in a world of trouble, surrounded by the members of Rival, trying to get away. Coach Killy forced to use the ultimate. Sir Duckbot even went inside of him to try and help him escape.
Yeah, I tried to go ahead and send everybody out by shadowing Mango Man. Not going to happen this time around. Team Rival pushes forward, 5 players strong. Era Eternity likely to lose their solo later. The good way, he goes back to base. I realize I stated that a little confusingly, but we need to see some counter wards over here. Era Eternity's getting their jungle warded out. The Fire Giant Demon Portal Guy Jr. goes the way of Team Rival. Another team fight. It's going the way of Team Rival as well. Mallow falls down. Dobson finds kill number 4. And everybody else still in trouble. Nice stun coming out from the Thor, but he blocks his team out.
And the silence pool from Sir Duckbot was actually so huge there, chunking away at Gnome's health. But Rival, they're not deterred in the slightest. They're still trying to keep this chase going. They want to lock down Coach Killy.
Rapio, Dobson, Jacob, very low. 1 shot, 2 shot. Mango gets 2 kills.
And Watson, he does finally find Coach Killy with the Solar Burst, but at what cost? It's going to cost him his life.
And the Fire Giant is alive. But the majority of Team Rival is not. Gnome doing his job here. Rapio gonna show up back from the base. Oh, I thought he went for the kills, instead played it safe. Gnome gonna do the same as well. And this is exactly what Rival need to do. 2 players controlling EE so they cannot get the Fire Giant.
Vaporus was looking for that mark stun onto Rapio, but he was able to escape it. But now Mango Man might get locked down by Rapio and Gnome. They don't have any cooldowns available right now, just opting to farm out these right mid Harpies instead. And Rival Eternity, I can't disagree with their decision to try and block that down, but now, because of it, Rapio is able to engage back onto them in the mid lane. Vaporus trying to run away. He's got no mana, but nobody cares or notices. They want Mango Man.
Nice ultimate again by Duckbot. Don't forget that ult lowers the damage output. Mango Man turn around! Gnome gets put down. Mallow puts number 11 up for Era Eternity.
I think Vaporus just got so lucky right there.
Yes,
that they
he did.
Turned their eyes away from him, because I think typically that's a dead Huyi if Rapio just looks to his left.
Yup. I saw that too, and I was sitting there like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Nobody sees me. That's all that you're thinking when you're an ADC in that circumstance. You're just like, oh, I'm so dead. He's probably saying in comms, I'm dead.
Yeah.
And then he just ends up walking away for free.
It's one of those, if I stand still and close my eyes, I'm not really here. Fun stuff coming out. This has been a fun game, honestly. The fun set. The Gab, I liked what they tried to do. Certainly going to be talked a lot about in circles, I'm sure. And he was able to, like I said, reach that mid-game apex. But this game here, Era Eternity, the Ho-Yi, the Duckbot, and Mango Man all going to get stronger as the game progresses. What do you think about the Team Rival matchup? Are they as late game as Era Eternity?
I wouldn't necessarily call them as late game, but they have enough burst potential because of the Soul and because of Dobson on that Kern that I think that they'll be just fine. If they want to take up the team fights, and as long as they stay grouped alongside of the Terra Sustain, I think that they could very easily find the victorious portions of a team fight as long as they're able to avoid that burst damage from Sir Duckbot.
Yeah, everybody's going to be looking at Dobson. He's been crushing it in these later team fights. 4-1-5 now. And that last one, just beneath it. He has suffered a death, but still just as strong. Coach Killian Mallow trying to keep the enemy off of the Gold Fury, but Team Rival going to filter in through this right side passageway.
Plus, Dobson has the fatalities. He's looking to build into shifters.
Mango
Man just by himself.
Mango Man, you know that they're there. That is either a miscommunication or Mango Man just being in the wrong spot. The team was guarding the Gold Fury area, knowing that Rival's in that mid lane. Mango Man has to know that.
Sometimes you just get caught out, and unfortunately for Era Eternity, with them being caught out, it's a free Gold Fury for Rival, and Sir Duckbot's ultimate eaten up by Gnome there.
These are the moments, these are critical moments. You're late in the game where even a solo laner can get blown up. We saw Duckbot die earlier on in game number 1, playing the Vulcan. These critical moments, 24 minutes in, one pick means an objective going the other way. Era Eternity need to clean that up. They're a strong team, but they're getting picked out far too often.
It's the patience from Rival and that steady poke potential as well. We saw the double tap connect from Rapio right then and there, but that's the burst that they have to keep an eye on. Sir Duckbot half-healthing Gnome already.
And Gnome is the solo laner. Just putting that one out there. He hasn't had the greatest of games, to be completely fair. 2-5-3, trailing by 2 levels to not just his opponent, but his own jungler. So that kind of shows you something there. And his itemization also not really there. He hasn't really gotten a lot of gold. He's got a bridge item in the Glad Shield. He's got Pestilence and still hasn't finished the next one. Kind of strange for the solo laner.
This one's familiar, though.
Starting the Fire Giant. Rapio going to go in the sky. Rapio going to look as the Fire Giant's leashed up by Era Eternity, instead just looking for the team fight.
He wants to try and help peel for his Hunter, and now Mango Man, actually, I thought he was going to get picked off by that wall. Just able to squeeze through that one.
And there he is, dashing away. Mallow, however, not going to have the same luxury. He gets stunned. Help out from Coach Killy, and he'll be able to walk away in that situation. Mango Man, however, just going to take some extra poke. And Fire Giant Jr., a.k.a. Portal Demon, he's going to be taken by Team Rival.
Rival got what they wanted there. They got exactly Coach Killy's ultimate. And without that Khepri revive being on the table, Era Eternity are going to have an incredibly difficult time contesting this because Rival, I would anticipate to look for the fight now over the objective secure, because when you know that they're not going to be able to get rezzed, that is the perfect opportunity to fight into a Khepri composition.
Yeah, taking a look, Khepri obviously doesn't have any CDR either, so going to be tough, and that's why Team Rival are going for the objective, understanding that Coach Healy doesn't have that available, and they can either take the objective or the fight, like you mentioned. And it looks like they're looking for the latter there. Mango Man going to be in trouble, although he might be causing the trouble as Jacob HL gets chunked down 25% thanks to a single ability.
And, I mean, that's just one of those things you just have to be incredibly wary of. But he does have a little bit of sustain. I think that he will be able to work it out. And this is what I was talking about, where they're just kind of looking for the aggression. They're poking away when they can. Coach Killy, though, already being target number 1 for Rival. They're dropping everything onto him. He's still alive.
Watson on the back line. He's going to be in trouble, and he is. Malo gets the kill all the way on the back. Rapio takes down Coach Killy. Support in mid lane down. Dobson chewing through the team fight. He gets Mallow. Dashing forward is Mango Man. Jacob going to lead the charge as well. Rapio's here. Hammer hits one. Zerker hits the other. 2 abilities, 2 kills. It's done. 4 players down to the side of Era Eternity. And Team Rival are walking right to the Fire Giant.
That looked like it was going to be such a massive turnaround for Era Eternity. Vaporish had a beautiful ultimate in that choke point on top of everybody from Rival. It just, there wasn't any follow-up damage off of it.
The only kill team, so Era Eternity started that fight by killing Watson, and then they just didn't do anything after it, unfortunately. Could not find anything past that.
And that's kind of the downside of having Sir Duckbot and Vaporish as your only damage possibilities, because once Sir Duckbot has expended his abilities, he has to wait for those to come off cooldown before he's really a factor again. And with that in mind, Vaporish is kind of just left all alone. Malois, sure, it's a Robin, but as the game progresses, Robin really isn't doing as much as you would want him to in comparison to a Kern, a Soul, a Thor. Even the Sun Wukong can deal a solid bit of damage, just looking at the way that Gnome has opted to build this with the Warrior's Tabi and the Gladiator Shield. They're still taking a little bit of chunks.
I mean, and what's upsetting there is that Mallow's actually top damage on his team. And that probably should not be the case when you have heavy hitters like Vaporish and Sir Duckbot on Hou Yi and Nox respectively. You need the damage out of those players. Watson gonna just barely get out of that one. Not using his beads, just walking out. Tier 2 tower goes the way of Team Rival. 1,500 more in the pocket as Rival approach that 10,000 gold lead that they're about 1 or 2K shy of. Not gonna find the stun onto Mango Man, but instead look for the Tier 2.
Malois has got to be careful here. He doesn't have the same kind of pincering effect. Gnome able to tank up that Nox burst, no problem.
That not the same for Mango Man. Blown up by Watson, and more importantly, Rapio, who sits number 3 on the player damage. Fantastic work on this Thor. The classic selection for Rapio. Lands on 2, finds damage on a Vapor. He knows he's going for the Hunter, but Coach Killy saves a life.
And he might get out for the moment, but it doesn't even matter. With the Khepri ultimate being expended again, that means that Malois has nobody to save him.
And that's so, gonna be trouble.
Now with 2 fairly tanky characters out of the way, Rival kind of have free reign.
Yeah. Knowing Rival, though, they're probably going to play this very, very safe. We saw them last time when they had a larger lead, larger momentum, not go for it.
They just want the creep waves, I think.
Yep.
I think they're just going to try and lock out those creep waves. There are 2 towers still remaining in this dual lane side, so they might also look to just knock down at least the T1 and T2 tower and then maybe pressure into the base.
Yeah, I think that's the right call here, Taco. Again, they don't have this they don't have a crazy chance to really go in for it. You're fighting against characters that can blow you up still. Sir Duckbot still bringing the damage, although not consistently enough to climb the ranks. So, gotta be careful.
Completely understandable choice by Rival. So, when you have such a prominent lead, you don't really want to do anything that's going to risk it. And right away, they're just going to secure that T2 tower. They're falling back, and Gold Fury's the next thing in mind. Spend as much gold as possible. They're going to be fully slotted as far as items are concerned.
There's no reason for that Gold Fury.
Sometimes you want to buy 2 500 pots instead of just the 1.
I feel that, but there's no reason for that Gold Fury. Sir Duckbot going to go ahead and push up, not knowing where anybody is, as there is no wards on the map whatsoever outside of EE's defensive wards right here in their own front yard. You see this one on the left and the right. Those are very important to prevent the backdoor. Outside of that,
I don't think that Rival care about a backdoor, though. I think they want to just come knocking on the front door of Era Eternity.
They don't want to knock.
Just kicking it in.
Era Eternity is the one that knocks.
Man, there's like nowhere really for Era Eternity to try and hold back from.
You get it?
The knocks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we just let that one smooth itself out.
That one just
it just set sail and then
its way out.
It just clip-clopped on out of here. No problems. It's gotta happen sometimes. But Portal Demon gonna follow the way of Rival.
Why? Okay,
they want to TP back in, and I think they're gonna look for a fire giant.
They're gonna look for the fire giant here.
I would imagine so. I mean, that's the only reason I can see for them to all back off of the Portal Demon and then come back in.
Okay.
Could they have ended this game by now? probably. We're going to throw it up to a 99% chance that they win this game, and that 1% chance all of their Xboxes blow up and then they end up losing this game. But sometimes you just want to go for the Fire Giant again with 2 Phoenixes down and a composition that's wrecking havoc onto areas.
Wowie has changed the game. There is no such thing as too safe. A Carnados 1 hit away from death can stop you from winning the game. So because of that, Team Rival, Gold Fury.
They have the current on their
Wave,
team, though.
Portal Demon, Fire Giant. Here's the kicker. I want to see Era Eternity steal this, wipe them and win.
Era Eternity isn't even thinking about contesting this in the slightest. They're too busy trying to push up those mid and right-hand waves because they want those creeps as far away as possible from their base. They're under the impression, they already know if we don't defend this outside of the Phoenix threshold, then we're probably going to end up losing this game.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair, and that's where Era Eternity is going to go ahead and line up for their final stand here, which can be successful. Jokes aside, folks, Team Rival might have been playing this extra careful, but careful, cautious is definitely, there's reason for it. Duckbot's damage, Vapor's damage is very real, and Coach Killy does have the Resurrect available.
And Coach Killy really just needs to be incredibly patient on the trigger finger for that res, because anybody could just be knocked down super low by Rival right now.
Right side Phoenix respawning, and it's going to be taken down just as quickly as it spawned. If Rapio can, or excuse me, if his mid lane Watson can find something about it. And there it goes down where it once was. Team Rival going to shift over and take out the left Phoenix as well.
Again, making the Titan as vulnerable as possible before completely engaging onto that Titan.
And this I don't mind. And you know, like I said, jokes aside, you always want to be as careful as possible. But this I don't mind specifically. You take down all 3 Phoenixes and then you just jump on the Titan. He's got enough HP that with all of the abilities going off once, he'll fall down before Eric can even do anything.
And on top of that, it's just, if they fight on the Phoenix, there's a very strong likelihood that Rival are able to find a pick or 2.
I really thought Dobson and Gnome were going to back him and he hit once.
Just back and that's it.
And then look for mid-harpies. 12-16 right now. Era Eternity trying to make their last defense here. Frenzy is popped for the blue team, and there's Watson caught up in the root. And the shot out from Sir Duckbot is good. Rapio's in the sky. Where's he going to land? Left side it will be. Controlled, but jumped away is Mallow, and he's got help by Coach Killy. But that's going to be the kill for Dobson anyway. 17 for Team Rival. Pushing into the enemy throne room now. On top of the Titan. 50% HP and lower. Down it's going, and down it goes. Team Rival.